First thing you need is the right mindset. If you want to be successful in life and you young people want to create a life of abundance, you need the right mindset, the right habits, the right skill set. Okay. The next thing you need to put in your fucking mind is that you got to be a business owner, not an employee, not a 9-to-5 worker. You got to run the show. Okay. It might not be next week or next year, but eventually you got to run that business and hopefully multiple businesses as you get older. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Crane. Thank you for tuning in today to the message. Look, I got a really important message for young people. And not just young people, but if you're somebody struggling financially, this is going to be a message that's directly focused on you. But I'm really thinking about the young people growing up in our country right now. So before I get into the message, first of all, please subscribe to the channel. Share this message with any young people you know. It might be your son, your daughter. It might be kids at school. Maybe you're a teacher. It might be family members, people in the community. I don't care. This is going to be an eye-opening and insightful message. You know, I'm always thinking about how I can contribute more to helping people. Like, on my heart is to be of service. Since I changed my life, I wanted nothing more than to enact that change in as many people as possible, because I went from somebody who was hopeless and who was slowly dying to someone who feels so alive, man, so alive and grateful. And I have so much love that just sees through my fucking veins every day for the life I've been able to create and build. And so the first thing I want to talk about is how I built this life. But the reason I'm thinking about this is because I see all these issues going on in society right now. We have the political stuff going on. We have the presidential debates. We have all these, opposing viewpoints and opinions. And then, with the media and social media, it's so confusing. Like, what is right? What is wrong? What is fact? What is, not factual? Like, it's really hard to decipher and discern what the fuck's going on, right? I think about young people growing up. The really young people, there's a lot of challenges for them, like my kids, with social media, screen time, a lot of stuff there. But I'm thinking about people who are in high school right now and people who are graduated from high school trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do with their lives. And then I see a lot of people in their 20s and even early 30s who are struggling financially. And especially here in California. I live in Santa Barbara, California, one of the most expensive places in the country to live. The average home, I think, exceeds $1.4 million. That's a basic home, like a fixer-upper almost, right? In other places, you can get a mansion. You go to Texas, other states, you get a mansion for that much money. And I think the average home costs between $300,000 and $500,000 nationwide. Don't hold me to that statistic. I can look it up, but I believe it's between that price range. And so in other states for young people, 20% of that is more feasible, right? Because that's typically what the down payment is. But in Santa Barbara, California, for a young person to buy and own a home, it's nearly impossible with the amount of money they're making. Even a couple and both the husband and wife are working, they can't pull it off. And I see a lot of people I grew up with moving away because of that. And so I'm always thinking, man, if I was a young person right now, like, what would I do to set myself up for success long term? A lot of people are going to college and then they get out and they have debt and they don't really have big promises as far as great jobs, high paying jobs and, compensation and good career paths. Like, they struggle and they end up getting into different industries than they intended to. So it's like, what was the point of college? I didn't get a degree I'm even using. Now I owe all this money to pay back the debt for my tuition. So a couple things I want to point out first and foremost. Your mindset is the most important thing. I remember when I was changing my life, or even before that, I'd hear like my uncle talk bad about wealthy people. He hated Trump. This was, back before Trump got elected the first time. And he just hated and despised Trump. And he looked at wealthy and rich people as crooks and thought of them all being horrible people. Maybe some are, maybe some aren't. But I never had that viewpoint. I was like, damn, I want to figure out what the hell they did to get all that money and become successful. Like, I'm going to figure out what they did. And I'm going to do it my own way. I'm not going to be a bad person, but I want to figure out what they did. I never looked at them as being beyond my reach. I'm like, man, if they did it, I can do it. I could figure this out. So first of all, my mindset around money was never that it's bad or negative, but it's like, dude, if you have a lot of money, you can do a lot of good in this life. You can take care of your family. You can help people. You stress less. You have more options. You have more freedom. Like, you do a lot more, right? And I never wanted to be that guy that said, oh, we can't afford it. not for my kids, not for my wife. I wanted to have a life where there was no limitations. So my mindset was key, right? For a lot of you, you might have the wrong mindset. You might have been brought up in a household like I was, where you hear things like money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are crooks. A lot of people have the wrong mindset around money and wealth, and that's why they stay stuck and they're poor their entire lives. So not just your mindset around money, but your mindset around creating the ultimate life. Like, I never look at anything as off limits. Anything and everything that I can envision or dream of is possible in my world. And that's because the second point I want to make is my daily habits build confidence and belief in myself. Therefore, I believe I can do big, badass shit in life. If I was sleeping in, eating Cheetos, getting fat, really bad diet, not working out, drinking alcohol, doing drugs, I wouldn't have that same belief in myself. If I was wasting a bunch of time watching football or playing fantasy football, and I knew that like I should be working on myself, or I knew that there was these things in life I want to fix, but I was just neglecting them, I wouldn't have the conviction that I do today to build my dream life. So like for the last 12 years, I've incessantly worked on my personal development and growth. So first of all, I had the right mindset. I was hungry. I was growth oriented. I wanted to create a really beautiful life. Like that was my mindset, my self-talk. But secondly, I backed it up with massive action every day, building my physique, reading books, studying wealthy, successful people, studying history, just learning all this stuff, And then when I got out of prison, consistently with those habits, developing myself. So deep down inside, like my core of who I am, my heart and soul, I believe in myself to do anything I set my mind to. And then the third piece I want to point out is my skill set. Since I got out of prison, and even before then, I was working on skill sets that would make me valuable, therefore I could make money with, right? And most notably, sales and marketing and using social media and learning how to use an iPhone and technology. Like when I went to prison, I had barely used an iPhone and I never had Instagram. I never filmed videos of myself. I didn't create content. I didn't have a podcast. I never spoke on stage. I never wrote a book. These are all skill sets I refined over time. And my ability to resonate with my audience through my content, marketing as we call it, and then the ability to move them from a place of inaction to action into my coaching program and get them results, other people call that sales, right, has made me over 7 figures coaching and helping people. And now I have skill sets that like are repeatable. I have a machine that I've created that can print money on demand. These are skill sets I've worked incessantly over and over repeatedly to refine and sharpen to the point where, buying a mansion is feasible. Traveling the world is feasible. Building a 9-figure business is feasible. Sending my children to the most elite private schools is feasible. Just getting life experience and getting mentorship from some of the most intelligent people on the planet, the most connected people on the planet. It's feasible. Like I told you, the first step was my mindset. I didn't want to have anything off limits. I didn't want to live in a world of limitations. I wanted to be able to access anything and everybody I could. And so by developing the right mindset and the right habits and then sharpening the skill sets that I just shared with you, it's made that feasible for me now. So for anyone listening to this, you are in control of your destiny, your financial situation, the career you choose, the relationships you have, the mindset and self-talk that you develop, your habits, like everything is in your control. Don't ever lose sight of that. That is going to be the foundation of the empire you build or that little fucking shack that you live in called your life. Like, this is the truth. If your life was a building, would it be a skyscraper that everyone wants to stop and look at because it's amazing, right? Like, how did they build that? That defies the laws of gravity. Or would it be this little shack, man, that's going to blow over in the wind because you didn't put much effort into it? Like, that's a metaphor. Think about that. You're in control. Okay, so for you young people, if any young people hear this message, you have to recognize that your personal development is everything. And your personal development will create professional success. It'll create success financially in your relationships across the board. But you have to look at yourself like your most important asset. Don't dull yourself. Sharpen yourself every day. Now, the next point I want to make is you need to seek to become a business owner. If you're out there and you're struggling financially and you think a 9-to-5 or a salary position is going to get you to where you want to go in life, you're fucking mistaken. Things have changed a lot just since I've been alive. When I grew up, people still could work average jobs and be 9-to-5 workers and be compensated well. Like my uncle who took care of us, he was basically like a handyman. He had different jobs in construction. He was a blue collar worker, but he was never a business owner. But we had a roof over our head, a 4-bedroom home. We always had food in the fridge, and we were like taken care of, you know? We didn't go on extravagant vacations, and we weren't living in the top 1%, but we were doing well compared to a lot of people. And he never was a business owner. You know, he earned enough to take care of us. But now, even if there's two parents in the house working a 9 to 5, they're living paycheck to paycheck, especially with the cost of, you know, goods going up and housing. Everything's gone up astronomically. 9 to 5 jobs, man, that's like a death sentence. You're just going to struggle. So anybody out there, what I'd say to you is you have to become a business owner. You will make exceptionally more money. You'll have more control. You're going to have a lot more stress and pressure. That's why I opened up sharing about your personal development, because you're going to have to develop yourself into a different caliber individual. You know, people that just check out and are numb, they're the 9 to 5 workers. Like, dude, they can't even withstand that type of pressure to be a business owner. They gave up a long time ago. They stopped developing themselves. They wake up, they check into their job, they check out, and that's going to be their life. But for those of you that want more, this message is for you. You have to seek to be a business owner. Now, you're not going to be able to do that right away, typically. So you will be a 9 to 5 worker, or you will be an intern somewhere, but like use that as experience. Don't look at that as your end all be all. Look at that as a stepping stone. Think about something that you would be passionate to do, something that you could be successful at, something that matches up with the skills you're developing and your likes, and like I said, your passions, and get yourself in that environment and study. Who's the business owner? Work later than you need to. Ask them questions. Go above and beyond. Stand out. Like, if you really want to excel, you got to get into the right environments and the right rooms, and then stand out for all the right reasons. And this brings me to my next point. Like, what kind of business should you get in? Well, I have a lot of coaching clients of mine who are blue collar workers who own service-based businesses. I'm talking about roofing companies, electrical companies, plumbers. I'm talking about concrete and coating, HVAC. I didn't know anything about the trades. You know, I'm a blue collar guy. I did tree work for my uncle's company 6 years right out of high school before I got incarcerated. So I know what it means to work hard and earn your money, right? Like, I was up in a tree all day long with a chainsaw, like working my ass off. It's no joke. And you feel good when you get those green pieces of paper slapped in your hand at the end of the week if you're getting paid cash, right? But at that point in my life, I never aspired to be a business owner. I didn't want to do that stuff. But the trades, man, the point is the trades are very lucrative. And there's a lot of things going on with AI and technology and the future with robotics. But really, if you think about it, if someone still needs their water turned back on, or their electricity's out, or in a hot summer day, their HVAC unit goes to shit, they're going to call a blue collar worker to come fix it. And the trades are so lucrative. I'm seeing private equity buy up these companies for upwards of hundreds of millions of dollars. I know guys who have exited their businesses for 9 figures. Imagine growing your business and selling it for $100 million, right? Or even 50 million or 5 million. Like, it's exponential results versus going and trading your time for money for your whole life and not getting shit for it, right? You need to seek to become a business owner. And you young people, you need to consider the trades, especially over college. You know, a lot of you guys are going to college and you're wasting your time, and you're then in debt, and you're not taking anything from your education that you can use to get a really good paying job or to start a business at that point. Some of you go and you get life experience. I'm not saying college is bad for everybody, but even doctors and lawyers, like, compared to business owners, they're not making nearly as much money. You know, I make more than doctors and lawyers. I didn't go to formal college. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I'm a business owner. Anybody that goes to college and gets a formal education and goes into one of those career paths, they're going to be limited. The way people get wealthy and rich, and when I think of wealthy and rich, I'm talking big numbers, you guys, like hundreds of millions and beyond. That's because I've developed my mindset to think that way, right? I didn't always think that way. But if you want to achieve a life at that level where your great grandkids' lives are changed forever, and there's a fucking statue of you in front of your mansion when you die, like that type of impact, right? And you left books behind, and you left content, messages that were important to people, like you truly cared and it showed. Like, that's what's on my heart, right? I'm not here to just make like $100,000 a year and think that's cool. I want to make that in a day. That's my mindset. Why? Because I have a lot of things I want to do with my life, a lot of people I want to help. You know, I want to bless a lot of individuals. I want to build children's hospitals. I want to travel the world with my wife and go see people who are less than and help them and give back. Like, dude, I want to take care of my family. I want to show people what's possible. You know, all the good in my heart and all the dreams that God put on my heart are feasible with those types of resources. I'm not here just to partake in this life and die a shadow of the person I could have become. and that's why like this message is so important, because I hope it's reaching somebody that needs to hear this and think this way too. So if you're somebody that's going to go to college, or somebody, maybe you have children and they want to go to college, consider looking into the trades. Consider getting a job in the trades, being an intern, working your way up, service tech, in sales, recruiting, leadership, foreman, manager, whatever it is. And then maybe one day you'll own and operate your own business. And the thing about this is you're putting food on people's tables. You're employing individuals. You're giving them, the ability to take care of their families. A lot of the employees, even in the trades, are doing well. And there's commissions and there's ways that you can freaking crush it. So look into the trades. If anybody's listening to this, and your kids or people are considering going to college, look in the trades, okay? And last thing I want to, two more things. Start investing young. You don't need a lot of money to start investing. You just need to have an investor's mindset. It took me a while to figure this out, but there's something you can go look at on Google right now. It's called an investor's calculator. I'm sorry. It's called a compounding calculator. Type it on Google, compounding calculator, and there's different figures that you need to enter. How much money you're starting out with, how much money you're investing per month, how much return you're getting on that investment, and then how often it compounds, and how much money you'll have at the end of the year, 5 years, 10 years, so forth and so on. But dude, for as little as like a couple $100 invested now and then $50 per month, if you invest it properly, that grows over time. And chances are over time, hopefully you'll have more money. So if you start establishing this investor's mindset now and these habits now, over time you can put more money into your investments and it's going to grow that much more. But for anybody that wants to start now, you can start with like $100. Go onto Robinhood, download the app on Robinhood, and go into Vanguard Index Fund. Now, there's a way to see what the Vanguard Index Fund has done as far as returns in the last day, week, month, year, and 5 years. In the last 5 years, Vanguard Index Fund has done 80% return. Now, this is a really safe investment. It mirrors the stock markets and typically outperforms various indexes on the stock market, like the S&P 500 as well. And you get an incremental return over time. It's averaging like 20% per year, which isn't going to be a ton of money, but if you compound that over time and you're consistent, you can actually start to save and accumulate some money that down the road, maybe use some of that as a down payment for your home. Maybe you need capital in that business that you start, right? Like you're going to be able to use that money as a tool versus waste it like a lot of young people do. So do me and do yourself a favor and get $100, download the Robinhood app, put $100 into your Vanguard Index Fund, and then make a reoccurring investment that puts in $50 a month. Or if you want to do $25 every week or $10 every week, I don't care. Make sure that there's a consistent investment going in there, something that's so small you won't think twice about it. You're not going to miss it if it leaves your bank account. And just start establishing that process now. Number one, you're going to start to develop an investor's mindset, and you can do more research around other investments, crypto, other stocks. There's a lot of different ways to invest your money. But establishing that habit of being consistent. That money doesn't seem like a lot right now, but over time it's going to grow. If you're 20 years old, use the compounding calculator. Look at how much money you'll have when you're 40 or 45. That's the time when you're going to be making real moves, right? Maybe you grinded for 20 years, built your business, started a family, and now all of a sudden, boom, you have a little bit of money to play around with. And you can get into real estate and some other things. Like this is the long-term vision and mentality you have to have. And a lot of young people, they don't have that mentality. That's why I'm creating this message today on my podcast. And that brings me to my last point. Mentorship. If I had a young person with me right now who's 20 and they followed me around every day, I could show them all this stuff every day and how to apply it. I could take them with me to the gym every morning. I could show them what I eat, what books to read, what content to be consuming, what not to do, how not to waste your time, how to still have fun and enjoy your life, but set yourself up for success. Like that's why I love being a parent so much. As my kids get older, number one, I'm always going to have fun with them, spend quality time, and pour my love into them. But lastly, I'm going to educate them and by example, show them what I'm doing to set them up for success in life. This is something I didn't have early on when I was younger, and I wish I did, but this is why I value mentorship so much. Business coaches, personal development coaches, I've had the best mentors in the world that have helped me to get to this point in my life. I had a lot of drive and desire and discipline that I've been able to execute on, but I've been able to expedite my results because I've learned from people who already have them. and I've been able to avoid mistakes. I've been able to skip steps, learn hacks, and jump further ahead because I've had the right people coaching me and guiding me to this point. Now I get to do that for other people. So rather than wasting money in college, rather than blowing a bunch of money fucking partying or doing drugs or eating bad food, start investing your money, you guys. Seek mentors that you can learn from. Ask them questions. Be curious. Find out how they made that money. Find out how they built that physique. Find out how they established that life. Find out how they found that dream woman. Ask questions and be curious. And the right mentor can change your entire life. So to recap this clip, first thing you need is the right mindset. If you want to be successful in life and you young people want to create a life of abundance, you need the right mindset, the right habits, the right skill set. Okay. The next thing you need to put in your fucking mind is that you got to be a business owner, not an employee, not a 9-to-5 worker. You got to run the show. Okay. It might not be next week or next year, but eventually you got to run that business and hopefully multiple businesses as you get older. And then you got to consider maybe a trade over going to college or that traditional path. Okay. If you want to make money, if you want to be able to provide for your family, if you want to have a career that provides exceptional results and opportunity down the road, consider the trades, okay? Or some form of entrepreneurship or business owner, becoming a business owner. Start your investment strategies early. Learn about the compounding effect of money over time. Start with a small amount of money, establish the mindset around investing and the habit of doing it, and then over time you can put more money into these investments and diversify yourself. But I'd recommend starting with a Vanguard index fund and do your research. They're performing really well year after year after year, even when there's dips in the market and people are scared. And lastly, get mentors. Get around people who are doing what you want to do, people that you admire, people that have the lives that you want to live, and get in those rooms with them, ask them questions. And I'm telling you, man, if you follow that blueprint right now and you're a young person, you're not going to be like all these broke motherfuckers in 2024 because the game has changed. You got to adapt. You got to evolve. That's the blueprint right there. Now it's up to you to execute.